What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Aftermath podcast. I am your host, Christopher Tenpenny, joined by my co-host, CJ Jones. CJ, it was another one of those games, man. How we feeling after the Chiefs fall to the Packers,
A little
27-19?
little chilly up there in Lambeau Field, huh? Little
Yeah,
snow game.
yeah. It didn't look as chilly as maybe it did before the game, but like another game where the Chiefs just are unable to produce late when they need to, and it was just I don't even know, man. It's just the same things. Like I feel like a broken record just talking about it over and over again, but it became
Facts.
penalties, losing the turnover battle, and oh by the way, there's only one receiver that you can trust.
And you're starting running back left the game. That was
Well,
funny.
yeah, but that was he wasn't going to be much of a factor at that point
He
anyway.
said, he said, "What's up? What's up?
Dude, after he got like
What's
beat
up?"
up 50 yards down the field, like the corner's 50 yards downfield with not even. That's what was frustrating. It was like I didn't plan to start here with the Pacheco ejection, but like that play, like he shouldn't have swung at him. Don't get
He
me wrong.
definitely shouldn't have. Like, he
But
was
like,
frustrated. I get
but
it.
like what the
The
Packers
play
were
was
doing
over.
to him was
Yeah, the play was
worse
over.
than what anything Pacheco did. Like,
Facts. Like he's shoving him and putting on like, bro, the play's over. Like,
yeah,
what are we
exactly.
doing?
Exactly. The corner's 50 yards downfield
He
with the
just kept
ball.
on, kept
Like,
on going, kept on going. Pop's like,
why are
bro,
you
chill, stop.
Yeah, yeah,
And he
yeah.
just
So
kept
I
on
would have
going.
got up swinging too, man.
Like, bro, the play's over. You still pushing me and trying to shove me in the ground. The play's over. It is what it is.
Yeah.
That was funny though, because he was having an amazing game, and then to leave the game like that, that's crazy.
Right,
That's
right. But
crazy.
again, at that point, it wasn't that big of a deal because of where the
Yeah,
situation
we
the
got to
Chiefs
go
were in.
score.
But
Yeah.
overall, like, just kind of, what were your thoughts on this loss? Like, just panic in the
These
streets, or just same old that we've been accustomed to?
kind of same old, same old. We kind of been in this rut where, excuse me, where we're kind of going up and down. We looked good in the first half versus Philly. Obviously, then we come out in the Raiders game and we start slow, get going. Green Bay game, we start slow, get going in the second half. But the defense obviously was kind of put us in a hole early, and we tried to get out of it. But the turnover definitely killed us. It's just like you said, little things. It's either like a situational play at the end of a game or a turnover is the reason why we've been losing most of our losses this year. So it's either we're dropping the pass in a big time situation or we're turning the ball over. And like the two losses we've had, where we've had 3+ turnovers, you can't do that versus any NFL team and expect to win. So it's the same thing, like you said, broken record. Nobody's doing anything to beat us. It's us. Like we're beating ourselves in most of our losses. Either drop passes, dumb turnovers, and obviously penalties are going to happen in a football game. I'm not mad about those, but it's when they come in bunches is when we start getting frustrated about the penalties. Like I don't want to see 3 or 4 in the same drive. Like okay, I'll give you one. That's fine, but you get 2 in a row, 3 in a row. I'm like, all right, but we can't move the ball if we keep having 3 or 4 penalties in one drive. It's just not. It's just going to keep putting you back. And every time we got in the red zone, and there were some debatable calls. The Creed Humphrey one I don't agree with. He had him hemmed up. This right here in the chest. I don't think this is holding if I got you in your chest. That's kind of like a debatable call for me. And then obviously the one to end the game on MVS should have been called. Obviously, I don't want to harp on it too much because obviously you shouldn't even have been in that situation. You should have already scored a touchdown. Shouldn't have turned the ball over. But those are just things we're doing to ourselves. We're just going to keep sounding like a broken record, Chris. Nobody's beating the Chiefs but the Chiefs. And I'm not trying to act like I'm being biased or I'm being like an unbearable fan that's like being biased. Like no, like nobody's done anything to beat this team. This team beats themselves, and I think anybody that are actually watching the game would agree with that.
Yeah, no, exactly. No one, the Chiefs have not lost a game to where they've gotten outplayed by their opponent. It's where they just
Make mistakes.
made easy mistakes. Like, you're gonna make mistakes in games. You're gonna miss a block. You're gonna
Exactly.
run the wrong route or have a bad throw. Like, that stuff's gonna happen. But
Exactly.
the penalties, the consistent route running issues, whether there's debate.
Somebody's always off.
There's
Facts.
debate on the Sky Moore play on whose fault was it? Was it Sky's? Was it Pat? I know Pat's taking a lot of ownership. And if you look at the play, I actually don't disagree with that. Like, I know our initial reaction is to blame Sky because it does look like he slows up, because he's thinking it's a back shoulder fade
Shoulder. Exactly. When he
because
over
Sky sees the corner coming over the
bubble
top.
out.
So I actually
Yeah.
kind of agree that maybe
There's
that
more
one was
space.
on Pat, but that
Yeah.
becomes another thing to the where he's just not on the page with anyone that isn't Kelsey and Rice at this point. Although I would argue Rice gets a lot of more just routes, either
Easier stuff. Yeah.
screens, curls,
Yeah.
those kind of things to where
Easy stuff.
It's not as much. There's not as much
Thought process. Yeah.
thought process on when you're going out there. Yes, thank
Just
you.
get
But
over.
like either way, they're the MVS route too. The one where he's like, why is he always twisting and turning, man? Like
I don't understand why he stops. It's funny, like when he's going down the sideline, he stops running. But on
yeah,
that deep pass, even though it should have been a PI, he kept running. Why didn't you keep running on the one on the sideline? If you'd have kept running, you would have caught the ball. But then you just start stopping and trying to judge the ball. Like, why is your ball judgment so bad? That was like an intermediate throw. But that deep shot was like 40 yards downfield. He keeps running. I don't
right.
get why does he stop running on the sideline? Like, what's up with that?
Yeah. I don't know.
The
So
corner out last week, like you said, stopped and twisted, or 2 weeks
yeah,
ago.
he
Sorry.
just he's either looking over the wrong shoulder or I don't know. I think he just once he gets past the man, he stops thinking. He stops
Just
evaluating.
keep going. You're gonna get open.
Well, on the one where he twisted this one, it was actually a really good route combination. I don't need to bore
down the
our
sideline
listeners
with like a wheel. Yeah.
he came in. Yeah, he went out and then came back in, and
Yep.
instead of widening it to the
To the
sideline, he
sideline,
kept
he came
going to the
in.
middle. Yeah,
Exactly.
like because he got him beat. Because he beat the corner, he stops thinking about where the next defender was. While Pat sees where the next defender is, the safety, and automatically throws it to the outside. MVS just turns his brain off. He's like, "Oh, I beat the first guy.
He's running like,
I
oh,
beat
there's
the
a
first
safety
guy."
here. He's not looking at the safety at all. You have to stay wide, or you're gonna get hit. So I'm
Exactly.
throwing the ball so you don't get hit. Like,
Exactly. And and I know for some of our listeners, they're probably being like, "This is who cares? Like this is we just want to know what this and that." But like, it's just consistent to where what Pat sees and what the receivers, specifically MVS, more times than not,
it's always somebody, bro.
but they're never seeing the same thing. So
Exactly.
like,
Every
unless
week it's J Watt, Sky, like it's always one play in the game where somebody's off. Either the receiver's off or Pat's off, and it's always one play in the game
and
where we
always
need it.
cost them a big 40-yard
Yeah, like
play
it's
for
always
most.
somebody every week.
So, and just to keep with the offense, like the other big issue I had with this game is there is a clear formula. We've been talking about too many cooks in the kitchen. Well, we finally found out, especially against the Raiders, and we've known this, that 10, 4, and 87 are the three that need to be touching the ball.
Absolutely.
Pacheco, Rice, and Kelsey. Those are your producers. Those are the
And
guys that not only does Pat trust, but have been exceeding in their opportunities. Guess how many catches Travis Kelsey had in the fourth quarter? 0. Guess how many catches Kelsey had after the first drive of the third quarter? Yeah, keep them zeros up. He got to 81 yards on the first drive of the third quarter. Didn't get a target the rest of the game.
he was cooking. What happened?
And guess how many carries Pacheco had in the fourth? He had 1. He had 1 carry in the fourth quarter. And I don't have Rice's number. I think he actually did have 2 or 3 catches. They still gave him a little bit.
I think he had 2 in the first.
He had at least 2 in the second half. And like, what? I need someone to explain to me why this happens with Andy Reid. Is it because they spend too much time and they're paid too much money that it's just really easy to overthink? Like the 49ers, you know what the 49ers do?
They give their 4 best players of football every drive.
Yeah. They give their 4. You see, it's either McCaffrey,
Kittle, IU, CMC, and Debo every time.
So why can't the Chiefs? Why can't the Chiefs do the same thing?
If you guys are watching Monday Night Football, the Jaguars
sprinkle a little Justin Watson in there as your as your 4.
Like Sky every now and then. Yeah, but like your 4 guys should touch the ball. The Jaguars are doing it right now. Evan Ingram, Calvin Ridley, Christian Kirk, and ETN touch the ball almost every drive.
The Bengals are doing it right now. Jamar Chase has 7 catches at the time of this recording. T. Higgins has 5
Joe
targets.
Yep.
Like
you give the ball to your best players. It's not complicated.
I just don't understand the thought process in the play calls because I understand how football works. That we're like, yes, their plays are going to break down. You're going to go to your third option. Richie James is going to get a catch. Noah Gray's.
Those little sprinkles, those are okay. Yeah,
but those aren't even sprinkles. Those are just that's how football works. Like
he's in the play.
The first routes are taken out. But when you're running designed shovel passes to CEH, when you're running designed fade routes to Sky Moore, when you're running designed Kadarius Toney Wildcat plays, that's just bad coaching in my mind because you're
deliberately for those 3 guys.
Yes,
right there.
You design those plays for those 3, while the other guys, if the play breaks down, that's when you get your opportunity.
I completely agree.
Like
it's not complicated, man. And we saw it. We've seen them do it. So we can't say, oh, they've never done it. We've seen them do it. Now and I've been saying that me and Crispin are saying this since the summer. Andy picks and chooses when he wants to just give his best guy the ball. Why? I'll never know. Because for years we always said we don't throw the ball to nobody but Tyreek and Travis. Now we're saying we throw the ball to too many people. So how come we
Right.
can't find a balance? Like for years, that's all we said. It's only Travis and Tyreek to touch the football. Nobody else can get open.
Because
I'm
it
like, all
worked.
right.
That's all it needed to touch the damn ball.
And then last year we had 15 or was it 12 players, 13 players catch a
So,
touchdown. Now
yeah.
it's like we're throwing the ball to too many people. So I'm
Yeah.
like, well, which one is it, man? We got to find a balance of getting your best players of football, but allowing other guys to have their moments when we need them. But like you said, the foundation has to be set. When it's money time in the fourth quarter, give the design plays to your best players. It's not
Right.
hard. I'm not saying Sky Moore can't touch the football. I'm not
Right.
saying MVS or Justin Watson should not be able to play. Yes, they can play. But when it's fourth down or third down in the second half, 87, 10, or 4 should be touching the football. And I don't care what anybody says. It's just
Yeah.
it's common sense.
Yeah, and they just continue to go away from it, and it's just the design plays away from those guys that you are not in a position right now to where you've got a receiving core like the Bengals where it's three,
Yeah, but,
guys that could be number one ish. I know Tyler Boyd's a little less, but you get what I'm saying.
yeah,
You've
yeah,
got
yeah.
to maximize
What you have.
what you have, and they just continue. They did it for 7 quarters. Like they just didn't have a lot of possessions. I really didn't have an issue with the offense
Yeah, it
outside
was
of
fine.
like they only had 2 drives in the first half. They're 2
Yeah,
penalties away from being tied 14-14. And then they
exactly.
came out in the third quarter, got a couple of touchdown drives together to get to 19. Like
Went
the
for two, kicked the
offense.
field goal. Cool.
So, but from the Raiders game to the first 3 quarters of this
Offense
Packers
was
game,
good.
the offense was fine. And then the
Facts.
fourth quarter, you had your best 3 players touch the ball 3 times.
Like, what went into your mind and said, hey, when you're designing plays in the fourth quarter, all right, I'm not going to design a play for Rasheed Rice. I'm not going to design a play for Travis. Like, what's going through your mind when you're picking these plays? Like,
I
and I
don't
know
know,
guys
man.
get double teamed, guys get caught up in coverage, but
Right. Again, that's
there's
just
ways to
football.
get your best players of football, whether it be, and I know we don't run this play as much as we used to, which I kind of wish we did more. Chris, we got in trips a lot when Tyreek was here, and we would have the two outside receivers would go down the field and start blocking. You have to throw the ball, and you can't block until the ball's thrown. You can't block before the ball.
Right.
So obviously, you would be in trips. Like you have 3 guys on one side, 2 would go block, 1 run in the flat, and then we just throw the ball and let that guy they caught it just get up and get it 5, 6 yards. How come we don't just do like those easy gimme plays like we used to? Like
Because
little screens, little bubbles, little flat. Give it to Rasheed or give it to Sky, whoever it is in the slot. Just let him get a block and get a first down. Like easy plays.
because Andy refuses to be a Madden player. You know how anyone who plays Madden knows there's
The
those guys you
basics.
play that run 4 plays. They'll run
And they
4
work
offensive
all
plays.
day.
And I know that comparing Madden to an NFL is not a perfect scenario, but like head coaches, and it's not just an Andy thing. A lot of head
There's
coaches
a lot of
just
coaches do.
refuse to do what continues to work the whole game. They have to mix it up. They have to. It's an
They're
itch
gonna
they
catch
can't
on.
contain. They're going to catch. Well,
They're
if
gonna
they
catch us.
catch on, like okay,
Then you
there's a
change it.
negative play. Yeah, then you change it. You don't change it beforehand to try to catch it. Like if it's working, it's working. Like
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
exactly. And like we can keep
And we
going
saw
down this.
Pacheco have one of his best games. That's the 3rd time this year he's averaged 6 yards a carry, Chris.
Yeah, it's
And
the
we
first
don't win
time they
again.
lost
I
with him
don't
getting
get
over
this.
15 carries, man. First
Yeah,
time.
it's like when he gets the ball and we're cooking, keep giving him the ball. And Chris, why don't we just play action off Pacheco? Why did it? I'll say this to the day I die. I swear to God, Chris. Play action out of the gun is the most pointless football
Oh,
play
it's
ever in
terrible.
life.
It's
It
terrible.
does nothing. It doesn't shift the defense. You have to play action from under center. And we were running the ball successfully under center. That's
Mm-hmm.
when you take your shots, put the ball in Pacheco's back, especially on first down. That's when you take your play action shots. Not on third down when everybody in the world knows you're throwing. Why would you play action on third down, Chris? It's third down. We know you're throwing it. So you just wasted time doing this.
Yeah.
Play action on first down under center. Andy, come on, man.
Yeah, I just like, especially you motion Kelsey every play, first down, motion Kelsey in, make it look like he's going to do a crack block or something coming in, and then he just, releases out on a play action. Like I don't know why they don't do more things like that. I really just think that they got so many offensive minds, so many players that they were planning around this year, and they just get paid a lot of money to do so that they overthink it. And I think that's kind of where we're at with the offense because I know we spent a lot of time on this, but it really, really just blows my mind how for 7 quarters you kept giving the ball to your best 3 players and you put up 50 points in 7 quarters. And then you just stop doing it in the biggest quarter of a game. You're down. Oh, hell, they didn't score in the first quarter of the Raiders game. They put up 50 points in 6 quarters.
So it's 6 quarters. Yeah, we didn't score. Yeah, those 14.
So, like,
Crazy.
and I don't know. It just like bookend. It's like the issues that they've had all year on are bookended by a terrible first quarter in the Raiders game and a terrible fourth quarter in the Packers game. But we can get off the offense or at least this usage topic. It's just if you and I can see it, if Mina Kimes is tweeting it out, she
She
was
even
out
said the same thing.
like
Travis,
that
she and
coaching
Pop,
staff.
she said it.
That coaching staff has to know, and just
It's not rocket science, man. You look at the text, they got the data.
yeah, exactly. But let's get to the defense because it's the second straight week where the defense has come out a little shaky. Back to back games where the first two possessions have led to touchdowns by the opposing offenses. Is it just better game plan? Is it just coming out flat? What have you been seeing where the defense, who still has been playing great, by the way, has just started out so shaky the last couple of weeks?
I think, like you said, it's just slow starts. Like usually in the past, we always get like a couple quick 3-and-outs, get teams off the field. We getting turnovers. We didn't get a turnover, obviously, and we're getting teams off the field when we need to. So in key situations, we give our offense chances to win, which is all you can ask for from a defense. But they've been playing such elite football this year. Natural regression was born to happen. Obviously, you're not going to keep every team you see under 21 points a game. Eventually, you're going to get caught slipping, and we did that on Sunday. And some of it was to our own demise. Like we didn't stop the run on early downs. A.J. Dillon was getting 3-4 yards a pop. And when you don't stop the run, we know how any team gets going. That's how the old Chiefs used to be. We're not stopping the run, and they can start doing whatever they want. So a couple of deep shots were kind of just, guys, you got to make a better play on the ball. That touchdown to Josh Williams with Christian Watson, you got to figure out a way to get your hand on the ball. If you tip the ball, that's not a catch.
Right. Good throw.
That's
good
our tallest
catch.
corner.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a good NFL play, too. Yes, Josh could have made
Christian
a play,
Watson's good.
but
Christian Watson's a good player.
Great throw, great catch. And that's going to happen. But
exactly. So little things like that. I would like to see us get more pressure. The D-line definitely, not to say they weren't, I'm not going to question their effort, but they just didn't put up their better performance. Just naturally, we've been so good at getting pressure with 4 this year, Chris, and we didn't do that on Sunday. And that was very concerning because that's our old line for Green Bay. Has struggled at times, but they also have gotten better coming off their performance on Thanksgiving to the Detroit Lions. They've improved as a group. So, but overall, I expected us to get more pressure up front. Like Mike Dan obviously got a sack, and obviously George got in there, but I expected us to get more pressure up front to not let them have as much gaps in the run game as they did. But we did blitz when we needed to, and we got home and we tried to get some pressure. But overall, Jordan Love just made some dime throws. Some of those throws were just
really good throws. Yeah.
You can play good defense, and it's just a perfect throw. You can't do nothing about it. So, and that's why I wasn't too mad about what the defense did, because as much as Jordan Love had a great game, they still gave us multiple chances to win that game.
Right.
And then that turnover was really the backbreaker for me. Games in your hand, you can't turn the ball up right there. It's it was what, 19-21 at that point?
Yeah.
19-22? Yeah, 19-21. Yep. So you can't turn the ball over at that point. It's literally you can go down there, kick a field goal, get the lead, and let your defense win the game. And you could have done that, but then we turned the ball over. So the defense gave us chances. As much as they did have a slow start, like air quotes, but the defense gave you a chance to win the game multiple times, and the offense just let them down again. So
right. Most points they've surrendered this year, but it was 19-21. The defense, Packers had the ball.
Yep.
Defense forces it to punt. Offense goes 3-and-out.
Can't do that.
Next possession, Packers get the ball again. The defense holds them to a field goal. Chiefs get the ball again to go down to take the lead, arguably. Throw a pick. Then the defense has to make another stop, holds them to another field goal, and you can't go down. The defense did everything they could down the stretch to keep that a
3 straight game,
keep that a one-possession game. And it's you can talk about the first 2 possessions, but again,
when 3 stops in a row in the fourth quarter, they're giving you chances. All you gotta do is score one time and win that game.
Right.
And that's how all of our games have been. It's the Denver game, 1 touchdown.
Right.
The Eagles game, 1 touchdown. The Packers game, 1 touchdown. The Detroit Lions game, week 1, 1 touchdown. We're not having this conversation. I'm not asking you to go out there and go score 4 or 5 times and get in these shootouts. All of our losses are coming down to if we score one more time, we're winning all these games. We could be, not saying you're undefeated, because that's hard to do in the NFL, but essentially you could be if you score one more touchdown in all 4 of these games. So
right, and that's with the healthiest team too, because we haven't even talked about the injury yet. I thought Cochran played well.
Jack had a madman.
Yeah, obviously there was a few communication things that happened that led to some big plays, but as far as when they were set and he had to come up and make plays,
he was good.
He
was flying around.
Man, I really thought that they were going to give Willie the dot when it first happened, just because of how I was in my
He
mind.
knows he's been here longer.
I
Yeah,
was just like, Cochran's just a special teams guy. Like, there's no way he comes out there and gets the green dot. Like, they're going to have to move Chanel to outside, move Willie to the middle, that where he doesn't know how to play, but like, he's been around. And no, the coaching staff knew exactly what to do. Brought Jack in.
Jack held his own.
Oh yeah, he
He
had
held
two
his own.
tackle for losses. Like, had a
I
command. I
heard some
was
helmets
really
pop when he hit too. He was
Yeah,
hitting
I
them.
was
He was
really,
hitting
really
people.
impressed with his play. And like,
Me too.
it's good to know that you have that, but also at the
Hmm.
same time, good to know that Nick's probably coming back this week. That's not confirmed, but it
He was
sounds like,
practicing last week, so he had that
yeah,
cast on we talked about. Yeah,
right. It seems like, especially if Tranquil's out, even though Cochran played well, I think they may rush Nick back this week with the Josh Allen coming in.
for sure.
We can get into that later. But if Tranquil passes concussion protocol, um, I think they may keep Nick out. But regardless, I wanted to give Cochran his dues because he played well in a role that's super super tough to come into.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Um,
Shout out Jock Capper. Hell of a game, bro. Hell of a game.
Meanwhile, Brian Cook goes down with a nasty ankle injury, but it sounds like early
He
reports is
avoid, he
that
avoided no breakage. The expectation.
yeah, like he's probably missing the rest of the regular season, but he could be
That's
ready by week 18 or first week of the
playoffs.
postseason.
Yeah.
So,
Thank
um,
God, bro. Thank God.
right. So I don't even know. Does Connor have to play?
Shamari. Yep, this is his
Yeah,
time now. He got a lot of snaps
has to
last night.
play safety number 3 because Mike Edwards goes into that starting role, and then
Hmm.
Connors comes out as that in that 3 safety look that the Chiefs really like to use a lot. So
Yep.
that's a big injury to watch moving forward. And then I know there were a lot of people down, but everyone else came back. Oh, Donovan Smith went down, and
His
Morris
was kind
came
of
out.
weird. He said it was
Yeah,
like a neck injury. He was over there trying to loosen it up. I'm like, I guess like he couldn't like they say he couldn't go back in. So
Morris, the third rounder out of Georgia, came in.
held his own.
First play, he got beat. I don't
Yeah, Wanya.
remember if it
Yeah, he
was
got beat the
Smith or
first one.
I don't remember if it was Smith. I think it was
I
Preston
think
Smith that got
I
him.
think it was him or Luke. One of them. Yeah, it came off the
Yeah.
edge.
Oh no,
Yeah,
it was
Lucas.
their first rounder, Luke. Yeah, came and busted him. You know how many pressures he gave up after that first play?
Let him know, Chris.
Zero. Zero. He came in, gave up a sack immediately. It looked bad.
That's
Gave up a
cool.
sack
That's cool.
immediately.
After that, he held his own.
Rest of the game didn't played another 35 snaps or so. Didn't give up a pressure the rest of the game. So
Like I
that's
said,
good.
Wanya played good, and he was dominant in the run game on short
Yeah.
yardage too. I said he had a
Yeah.
couple pancakes. I saw him.
So yeah, he was out there moving. So yeah, with the loss and a bunch of injuries, you're still looking at it and you still see a lot of positives, a lot of good depth. Your depth being tested and your depth living up to it because
Yeah,
we're not
guys play
sitting
well.
here. We're not sitting here saying the reason they lost was because the middle linebacker was out or because the safeties were getting burned or because the left tackle was getting destroyed all game. We're out here saying they lost because of the same things every week: the play calling, the penalties, the turnovers, the lack of production from the receivers. So if you want to take a silver lining, and I know in Chiefs Kingdom we're looking for championships, not silver linings, but like
Mm-hmm.
there were still a lot of good things that came from this game to put a little bit
Absolutely,
more positive perspective on it. So,
absolutely.
but the last thing I wanted to get into, because anybody on Twitter or Facebook or it's all any sort of social media, the sky is falling like it is every time after the Chiefs lose.
Yeah, the standard's pretty high, huh?
CJ, I wanted to still ask you, do you still think this Chiefs team can win a Super Bowl?
Absolutely. It's mainly because, like, obviously, I know how good this defense is for one, and defense is always going to carry you when you get into January football. We can run the football, and defense and run game travels. So whether we're playing in Arrowhead on the road, I've always been confident in this team just because I know we can do those two things at a high level, and we've shown that this year consistently. And if you look across the AFC, nobody in the AFC has really separated themselves.
Mhm.
Baltimore's had their moments where they look lackluster. We've had our moments. Miami, Jacksonville right now is in a dogfight with Cincinnati. Everybody's had their moments where they've looked like the best team in the AFC, then they've had moments where they look like they can get bounced first round. So if any of those four teams I just mentioned, the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Jaguars, or the Dolphins, if any of them matched in January, you can make a case for why any of those teams should win that game and win the AFC. So
Right.
if we do get to January and we are 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, doesn't really matter to me where we go. We could any of those teams could come into any stadium and be confident about their team. So when I'm from a Chiefs standpoint, we matched up with the Jaguars, didn't play well, we beat them. Matched up with the Dolphins, didn't play well, we beat them. We don't play the Ravens this year, so we'll see them in the playoffs. And then obviously we excuse me. most of the teams in the AFC we've seen all of them in the playoffs. We've seen the Bills, we've seen the Bengals, we've seen the Jags, we've seen the Ravens in the regular season, not the playoffs. This will be our first time playing them in the Mahomes era in the playoffs. So um, I'm not really concerned, mainly because I know we can stop anybody. Our defense has shown that we've been against the best of the best all year. When it comes to quarterbacks, we win against the best. Receivers, we win against the best. Overall weapons, offensive lines. There's really nothing this defensive group hasn't seen. So if it's January and you get a week off to prepare, it's Spags and Andy, more so Spags, because I don't know about Andy. Andy, you bugging right now. I would be very confident just because I know we can get teams off the field and I know we're going to run the football. Now, will we score points is the question. On any given Sunday, you never know. But from a defensive standpoint and running the football, we're always going to have a chance because those two things always travel, whether you're playing at home or on the road.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% with you because, like you said, no one in the AFC, like for some reason, Baltimore's been put on this pedestal and they've collapsed 3 times in the fourth quarter.
They
And
lost
all
to the
three of their
Browns with
losses.
3 turnovers.
Yeah, they lost to the Colts with Gardner Minshew, which I know they currently have a playoff spot, but like still, if you're supposed to be this top dog team, they scored 14 points against Pittsburgh and let Kenny Pickett beat them on a last minute drive.
Exactly.
They are a good team. They are a team that honestly, right now, if the Chiefs had to play them in Baltimore in the AFC Championship game, I would pick probably the Ravens.
Yeah, they would be favored for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
But to sit here and say that they couldn't win that game and there's not a path to the Super Bowl, you haven't been paying attention to the rest of the AFC if you're a fan.
That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. Look at the who's going to have the second most experience, or maybe the most, I don't know. But if the Browns get in, Joe Flacco is going to be the most experienced quarterback.
Off the couch, Joe Flacco.
Outside of that, like the Bengals, like I know they're still playing tough. They're probably going to miss it. They're one of the more experienced playoff teams. The Bills are a question mark right now as well. The game against the Chiefs becomes huge for them in their season next week. So those are the two experienced teams. So if you want to go off nothing else in the AFC, just go that literally everyone that makes plays for you outside of Rashee Rice has won a Super Bowl, has been in these moments, knows what it takes, has been in multiple playoff games, So you feel good again going against maybe a Houston Texans team and a rookie coach quarterback. You feel good against a Miami team with Tua's only got one career start. You feel good against a Jaguars team that you've owned since they've been relevant, against Peterson and Lawrence there. So yeah, this team clearly still has a path to the Super Bowl. Now, if it's the Niners there and it's a rematch, it's a little scary. But even that, like you look at the rest of the NFC, you played well against the Eagles again. You played well against the Lions. Also, the Cowboys, you're not going to see. They kind of scare me a little bit too, which is crazy to say. I feel like I need to put soap in my mouth for even saying those words.
And they may not even make it because I don't.
And they probably won't make it. Yeah, they probably won't make it. They can't get past the 49ers. So maybe so the Ravens and the Niners, and then maybe the Cowboys are the only just because of the offensive firepower that Dak's put up right now and the way they pressure and stuff, it could give the Chiefs some trouble. Those are the only 3 teams, and you only have to get through one of them potentially get to the Super Bowl. This team 100% could still get there. If you're thinking anything else, you're just a doomsday negative individual that needs to.
They want it to be.
It just needs to take a deep breath and realize that the NFL is a marathon, not a sprint, and that a couple of losses and a couple of bad looks from the offense isn't the end of the world. So
if the Chiefs aren't the overwhelming favorite, they say the Chiefs are cooked, Chris. That's what they're saying.
Oh my gosh,
we're not beating teams by 30. This isn't a Super Bowl team. I'm like, okay, you have to win by 30 every week to prove it.
Right? No. That's
how they feel, Chris.
you need a chance, and right now I would still think, even though the Dolphins look good, even though there's some other interesting teams, I'd still give the Chiefs the second best odds in the AFC.
Absolutely.
And I still would like their chances from an experience standpoint against the Ravens more than.
And if coming into the season, if we said this is where we would be at, being chance to have a top 3 seed in the AFC, isn't this what we wanted? We didn't think we'd get here during this way. But if we have a chance, if you tell me we get into January football and 1587 Andy are out there with a healthy old line and obviously with this defense we have now, I'll take my chances.
Yeah, and I think at that point,
against anybody, honestly.
And I'm gonna put it. I think at this point, Andy will be forced to just
with
give
the
it
money on the line. You got to give your best player the ball.
Yeah. You're not gonna see Kadarius Toney coming out in Wildcat. You're not gonna see Clyde getting shuffled passes. You're gonna see. You're gonna see because you know what's crazy is I know they scored on that next play. I'm getting to go back down the weeds, but like Pacheco was wide open, or not Pacheco, Rice that ran the motion across that formation on the shuffle to Clyde. He was wide open because everyone knew that shuffle pass was going. But anyway, get to my main point.
Yeah.
Rice, Pacheco, Kelsey. That's all. That's
Give
all.
the ball to your dog, man. Very
Yeah.
simple.
Maybe
And I think
sprinkle
if
in
and I
Watson
think
and
if we
Noah Gray. McKinnon coming back adds an extra little element. But
little jet action,
but
yep.
you can put like with that 10 that I got in my math equation there on the screen for those of you watching on YouTube. You can put in parentheses 1. It's whatever one of those two running backs is on the field.
A one.
Yeah.
Feel me? No, I agree. And a sprinkling, you could probably put like a little 87/3 action at times. You know,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
little Noah catches everything that's thrown to him. So
Dude, I have no issue with Noah getting 2 to 3 targets a game
take it.
because he's proved to be
Hell, bump it
reliable.
up. He could bump it up to 4 for real.
Yeah, take those away from MVS. But that's my say on that. Again, oh man, it was not ideal, but again, I think you get so caught up in the final score and the offense only scoring 19 points that there are things that can be fixed. We didn't spend a lot of time on the penalties, but that clearly was a factor. Now losers are the ones that complain about penalties, and so I never want to put Chiefs Kingdom down to that. But it definitely it had a factor. It wasn't the main factor.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't the
It,
biggest call,
it
but
wasn't the biggest cause,
it
but it
was
had a cause, and that's all I really want to say about it. Because again, losers
a
complain about
call that could have
penalties.
made a difference.
Winners overcome lack penalties. So like.
Absolutely, and we didn't win. So
And we didn't
it is
win,
what it
so
is.
that's all right. But on that note, CJ, as we get out of here, where can the good people find you for more of these spicy Chiefs takes that you got?
You can definitely find me on Twitter at CGZ81. That's CJEEZY81. You guys want to talk fantasy bets? I know college football playoff. Me and Chris were talking about that offline. That's going to be really cool. I'm going to try to start hosting some spaces coming up soon. I know we're getting closer to playoffs, but yeah, my DM's open. If anybody wants to talk football, X's and O's, I am always down for good conversation.
For sure. Always got good stuff there. You can follow me on Twitter at 10penny88. And for those of you listening on Spotify or if you are watching on YouTube, please head over to the KC Sports Authority on YouTube. Hit that like button, subscribe. They're getting close to 200. We're getting close to 250 subscribers, which is a big benchmark. So appreciate all of those that have already subscribed. Working from everything I hear from Keegan, it sounds like they're working on getting maybe some sponsorship and some deals. So keep an eye out for that as they may get some promo codes. Yeah, I don't know about that, but maybe more of some of those smaller ones. So keep an eye out as those continue to work in the way. And also, they've got a lot of good KU stuff. I know KU basketball content, while popular, there's not a lot of people that do it. So go and check out some other videos on the page and watch some KU stuff. They always got a lot of good stuff. Good recap over the UConn game. They got quite a few.
Go Hawks, baby.
They got quite a few people, Keegan and the crew, looking at that, watching and sharing some takes on that. So please go check that out. A lot of good KU stuff, as well as the aftermath, man. We're going to sit here. We're going to keep it real on the Chiefs. We're going to keep it level-headed. CJ and I aren't too over dramatic. So if you want some level-headed, some just good football talk, please continue to support us. And those that have been with us for a while now, we thank you for the continued support. I know I went like 3 minutes about talking about subscribing and everything. So I'm going to wrap it up. We're going to get out of here. As always, we'll talk to you next time.
Go Chiefs.